Intake bays or skim coves are probably my favourite type of pond skimmer. They work great at keeping floating debris out of the main pond. That helps reduce maintenance. Creating an intake bay is pretty easy, so today I wanted to show how I created one for my latest pond using a green garbage bin and some drainage pipe. G'day, my name is Kev. The aim of my channel is to help people build and maintain ponds without spending a fortune. If that sounds like something that interests you, feel free to subscribe and check out my website ozponds.com. There are two pumps in this intake bay. One is feeding the start of the stream and the other the bog filter, which I showed how I built in last week's video. If you didn't see it, I'll put a link to that in the description. To help pull surface debris into the intake bay or cove, it's best to create a shallow choke point. Under that little bridge, the water's only about 6 inches deep, and that's if the pond's completely full. It's also only about 2 feet wide. And the pumps are over there in the green bin on the left, which is a little bit hidden. The stream enters on the opposite side of the pond. This creates that nice flow from one side of the pond to the other, pulling all that water into the intake bay. And I also have a small pump pushing water out of the bottom right-hand corner. To house the pumps, I'm using a 100-litre wheelie bin, and I use this half-pipe trench liner to create the void space. The void space is an important element as it provides an area for the pumps to draw water from. Pond pumps are designed to move a lot of water, and it's important that they always have water available. So the void space should be capable of storing 1 minute worth of water. This is an easy calculation to do. You just divide the amount of water that the pumps are producing per hour by 60. So let's say you're moving 10,000 litres per hour. You divide it by 60 and you get 167 litres. And that would be the amount of void space you want to create inside the intake bay that the pumps can draw from. So once I knew how much storage I needed, I just excavate out an area for the bin and the pipe. I overdig it a bit because I'm putting in the underlayment, then the liner, and then more underlayment. I cut a 100mm hole in the bottom of the bin. I reckon bigger would have been better. I probably should have gone for a 150mm hole. The plumbing on the left is 50mm and the plumbing on the right is 38mm. So that's just under 90mm all up, but this water's being forced under pressure, whereas the water that's flooding into the bin from the void space is only under the pressure of the water above it. I hope that sort of makes sense. Anyway, you want your hole in the vault to be bigger than the sum of the plumbing that's going out. I just made sure the bin was level and locked it in place with pebbles. The pipe I place in front of the hole. I did cut the edges on the pipe because I don't like the pointy bits with the pond liner. I also had some of that drainage cell stuff that I used to create the false bottom in the main pond. So I used that to help stop small pebble getting into the void area. On the intake bay on my dream pond, I didn't use it. I just layered the various grades of gravel, much like I did in the bog filter. Same principle, just different materials. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to see how I built that bigger one. Anyway, I completely covered the drainage pipe with cobble. And then added river pebble over the top. I'm not sure if I mentioned this already, but I made sure that the top of the bin was above water level. It makes accessing the pumps way easier. I just drilled some holes in the back of the bin to accept the pipe work and the cords for the pumps. I glued the elbow fittings and then I just used these black couplings so I can lift out the pumps if I need to service them. Because the water's being drawn through all that cobble and pebble, you hardly ever need to service the pumps. I haven't touched the pumps on the dream pond and it's been over 12 months since I switched them on. I added in some dwarf sweet flag around the bin and some branches. Hopefully as that grows in, it'll blend that bin in nice and good. It was plenty windy today, so I got to see how it all worked, and I'm pretty happy. The main pond is nice and debris free. Anyway, that's how I built this intake bay. It's certainly not the only way, but it works for me. I hope this was helpful for someone. Thanks for watching. See ya.